Hi YouTube, and welcome to part 4 of our Acorns Astrology. The Cosmic Classroom is in session, and it is in session for the final time. Yes, this is going to be, here's the cat, this is going to be our last episode of Acorns and Astrology, at least in this format. And today we are going to talk about the houses. The reason that we are ending this series is season 1 finale. I like it. I am actually planning on kicking off a new series that is going to be covering the zodiac seasons. So, within the week that this is posted, I am going to be having a Virgo season kickoff. So, every zodiac season, I am going to have a stream, which will then be a YouTube video, and I'm going to tell you what to expect for that season. So I'll tell you all about what to expect from Virgo season 201, exactly. Tell you important dates to look out for, and we're going to maybe have some special guests of each sign. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, you may see some chats down here. This is my Twitch chat, and they are on their best behavior, or else. And then you'll also see we have a game at the bottom right of the screen. That is our Squirrel Around game, and people in Twitch chat, I think it's every 10 minutes, can send a squirrel out to find little goodies for them. So, if you're on YouTube and you'd like to join us on Twitch, the link is down below. Come say hi. Come squirrel around and hang out with these goobers. We're graduating. Did everyone purchase their cap and gowns? Did everyone do their homework? Okay. Let me see if I can form some sentences today. Episode 4. The houses. We are talking about the houses, and I hope you guys are ready. So, I am going to have to go back and forth because I only have 2 monitors. I'm going to have to go back and forth between chat and my notes. So, if I miss any chats, please feel free to send anything again. Alrighty, so we're diving in. We're diving into the houses. And there's a lot to cover. I was actually telling Twitch before I started the YouTube video that one of the reasons I wanted to wrap this up is because we start hitting a point where we're no longer in like beginner astrology territory, and I don't feel equipped to dive too much deeper. As long as I've studied astrology, this can be a hard format, but I really wanted to make sure to cover the basics, and we can keep talking astrology. So, hi Fatima, welcome in. But we are just diving in. So far, we have talked about the planets and the signs. Now we're adding a third major layer of the birth chart, which is the houses. So, to recap, the planets tell us what, the signs tell us how, and then the houses tell us where. Sorry, Bob. So, the houses divide the birth chart into 12 different areas of life. Each one represents a different part of our experience, things like identity, money, communication, relationships, career, all of that good stuff. So, when we look at a placement in our birth chart, we're not just looking at something like the moon in Pisces. We can also ask what house is the moon in, and that tells us where in this person's life that moon energy is most likely to show up. The houses can feel a little more complicated than planets and signs because they depend very heavily on your birth time and location. And there's a few different systems that astrologers use to calculate them. We're going to touch a little bit on some of that today, but you don't need to memorize any of that. it's mainly me just giving tidbits of like more advanced stuff so you have some context. But my goal here today is to just give you kind of a framework for understanding what each house represents, what it can mean when you have planets there, and how houses add another layer to reading your chart. And then at the end, we're going to look at a few real birth charts and put some of those layers together. Some real birth charts of people you may know that may be in chat. Okay. Are you home yet? Are we done having our fun? Welcome home, Gunny. Give me your location. Give me that location. So, I wanted to start with my resources today because I have saved them for the end in previous classes and I forget. So, I'm going to show you some resources before I dive in. So the three, Olivia for Olive, I love that. I have the 3 resources that I shared last time, and let me see. For like very, very, very beginner stuff, I recommended Starring You by Lisa Kelly. This is like my astrology mentor that helped teach me and get me into astrology. So this is a really cute, super beginner workbook, and it is a workbook. Like, it's very cute. It walks you through your own chart and placements you have so you can understand your chart a little better. A guided journey through astrology. These cats. A really amazing beginner-friendly book is this one, Astrology Using the Wisdom of the Stars in Your Everyday Life by Carol Taylor. I love this one. This one covers so much. Hello, readers! I don't have my raid graphic. Hi readers, I don't have my raid graphic on the screen, but welcome in. If you guys don't know me, I'm CosmicSquirrely. Hi Morgan. Forgot my raid message. No worries. We are doing a little astrology lesson today, so welcome in. Forgot to copy the raid message. No worries. Welcome in. Yeah, if you guys don't know me, I'm CosmicSquirrely. We're doing a little astrology class today. Welcome, welcome. What else? I usually rely on my raid graphic. But Morgan, raiders, if anybody needs to raid and run or needs to lurk and learn, I love that. Came to learn. Perfect. So, we're learning about the houses in astrology today, but I have the first 3 parts up on YouTube as well. I am pushing to hit 150 YouTube subscribers before the end of the month, so we have that pinned. If you'd love to go get caught up, if you'd love to give me a little subscribe, it would mean the world. But hopefully I can explain the houses in a way that is easy to follow even without some of the early parts. But welcome in. Welcome. Yay, thank you. Oh my gosh. That's exciting. But we're just getting started on the lesson. It's perfect timing. I was showing some resources before I actually get into the houses. The first one that I recommended is this cute little workbook, Starring You by Lisa Kelly, and it really is like, it goes placement by placement. It has room to write, take notes, all that good stuff. Really good for like very like just starting to get into astrology. This one, I love this. This is such a good beginner-friendly astrology book. Astrology Using the Wisdom of the Stars in Your Everyday Life by Carol Taylor. And it also comes with, there's an envelope back here, and it comes with like flashcards. It comes with flashcards. It covers so much stuff in this book. Which one? This one? I highly recommend this. this covers so much good information. It breaks it down in a way that's really easy to understand, so I highly recommend. I Will Recommend Anything by Chani. You Were Born for This is a little bit more, it reads more like a book, but it still teaches astrology, so I love this one. And I also really recommend Chani's website. It's just Chani, CHANI.com. And you keep that one on your bedside table. It's so good. I love it. I love Chani. I love how Chani explains astrology. And Chani's website, chani.com, is incredible for giving, like, breaking down information. Sorry, buddy. We're just gonna keep doing that. She's amazing. Thank you so much, Mocha. Her website, if you've missed any of my YouTube videos, if there's something that I didn't explain in a way that clicks with your brain, maybe check out Chani's website, because she has everything, and she has an app. You can get your birth chart from Chani's website, which I also added to my birth chart command. So I could talk about Chani all day, but highly recommend. And I would be remiss to not mention Parker's Astrology. This is like the astrology textbook. It is very much a textbook. Like, you could knock someone out with this. But I find it so interesting to flip through this one. Even if you are not super far into astrology, I recommend, if you want to learn more, like if you really want to get into it, I recommend getting Parker's Astrology and just flipping through and just find little bits of information that intrigue you. I still, to this day, will randomly flip through here and find fun information. The whole back, like back section, all of these blue pages are all different like placements and aspects. So you could just pull up your birth chart and look things up one by one, and it gives you information. So I love Parker's Astrology. And I'll try to remember to post this in the Discord too. I think I have the other ones in the Discord already. Okay, I'm already out of breath. This is a good sign. Okay. Now, what's next? So, I started, before I went into the house by house, I put a few graphics that have some fun, helpful information if you wanted to screenshot this, or if you wanted to go back on the YouTube video. You can find most things like this just looking for like Googling like houses in astrology. You can find some sort of fun little cheat sheet chart that helps break things down, right? So, this graphic gives us a really quick overview of the kind of topics associated with each house. So you don't need to memorize everything on this wheel. Some of this is open to interpretation, and we're going to go through all 12 of these individually. I do want to start by saying no house is inherently good or bad. Some houses have historically been associated with more difficult subjects, and some with more fortunate ones, especially in traditional astrology. Took a screenshot. Nice. Write that down. I will talk a little more as we go through all of the houses, because my study of astrology has been quite a mixture of traditional and modern astrology, and so I've included some information from both, but I try to note if one, like if something I'm teaching is like very distinctly like traditional astrology or modern astrology, you will find that traditional astrology was much more harsh. I've looked through some like old school traditional astrology textbooks and it'll just be like, well, this placement means you're gonna die young, or this placement means you're gonna be broke and sad your whole life. And modern astrology tends to like soften things a bit, add a little more nuance, and modern astrology I find tends to lean a little bit more to like psychology, whereas traditional is like traditional is like you're gonna die. Yeah, same, Chris. Like eighth house. Ooh, this eighth house aspect, you're dying young. Collective karma feels very traditional. Yes, Old Testament vibes. Exactly, Buffy. Some of my houses are in 11th and 12th, and people feel bad for me. I know. I feel like 8th and 12th house are historically houses that people are like, oh, sweetie. Oh, sweetie. So I have quite a few 8th house placements, and so I have definitely had astrologers look at my chart and be like, oh, okay. Let me go to the next graphic if you want to screenshot this one. Nothing 1 through 12. Haven has a completely empty chart. Oh, you get the kitty. Okay, so this chart I included because I find the sign correspondences really interesting and they're really helpful for remembering what the charts mean. So, yeah. I covered traditional versus modern. I jumped ahead in my notes a little bit. You'll often see houses paired with a zodiac sign and that sign's ruling planet. This is especially common in modern astrology, and it can be a really useful beginner tool because it gives you familiar associations to connect with each house. So for example, what I'm talking about is you'll see people connect the first house with Aries, or Mars. You'll see people connect the 6th house with Virgo. It is a really helpful tool for remembering what all the houses mean, for remembering what order everything is in. But houses and signs are not actually interchangeable. In traditional astrology, the first house is not inherently ruled by Aries. Second is not inherently ruled by Taurus, etc. The sign that's on the cusp of your house in your chart is actually what matters when interpreting your chart, but that is where it starts getting a little more, not advanced, a little more like intermediate. So I might mention that some here, and I'm happy to look at you guys' charts in Discord and help understand there, but I'm not going to dive too deep into that here. But I would think of the things on this chart as like memory aids rather than literal house rulerships. So, any questions so far? Acorn? What'd you get? A rock. Nice. Oops. If you want to ask it, I can let you know if I'm going to answer it, or I can try to help now. What am I hearing? Oh, maybe the music. Up to you. If you want to save it, I can answer at the end if it would help you understand going forward. I can also let you know now. Let me jump the next slide. I just want to cover what are these, like the different kinds of houses. So there's 3 different kinds of houses. Oh, here we go. I've just always been confused about how the houses are connected to signs, but then also connected to those areas you showed on the last slide. But then your signs are also in different numbered houses. Yes. Yes. So I think that's why some astrologers like stray away from, using stuff like this, because it does make things seem a little extra confusing. For some people, something like this really helps remembering like what each sign or what each house means, but some stray away from it because it does kind of like muddy. Maybe when I get to the chart examples and once I've gone through all of the different houses and I'm like looking at like the example charts, maybe I can help like explain what I'm saying about like the cusps being the rulers. Like Capricorn is in the 10th house, but then I have Scorpio or whatever. Yes. So that's where like, don't take this specific chart as like anything but maybe a helpful tool to remember what each house means. And if this like confuses it, then I would say disregard this and we can look at like your specific chart to help you understand the houses a little better, if that makes sense. So we can scoot away from this. I think it's a good representation for people who like have trouble remembering. It's a good memory tool. Hi Mohammed, welcome in. But if you're still confused by the end of class, I'm happy to walk through some of the example charts with you, and maybe that'll help understand a little bit better. So there's three, where's my notes? 3 different kinds of houses. Yes. First, we have angular houses. These are the houses associated with the 4 major angles of the chart. They tend to feel very active and prominent and important. These areas of life can feel very noticeable or central, especially when you have planets placed there. Next, we have succedent. They're often associated with building, developing, maintaining, or supporting what the angular house began. And then we have the cadent houses, and these tend to be more connected with learning, processing, adapting, and transitioning. So as you work through, the chart kind of has a rhythm. We start something in the angular house, build on it in a succedent house, and then process or adapt through the cadent houses before the beginning of the next cycle. So, and then what's interesting, I hope you can see it as I walk through all of the houses individually. You'll kind of feel we have a full cycle that happens here from 1 through 12, a whole cycle from beginning to end. So again, you don't need to memorize any of this. It's just a helpful tool, and I wanted to have this chart to help visualize, because as I work through the houses, I will say like, oh, this is an angular house, this is a cadent house, whatever. So I just wanted you to kind of have an idea what I was talking about. So I missed some chats. Ate some acorn paste one time, wasn't very good. Good to know, Gorka Morka. That's good to know. I haven't tried acorn paste before. Maybe it needed something mixed in. Which of these houses would you say give off Hufflepuff energy? Maybe 5? Maybe 5th house. Let's see. Yeah. Maybe, I feel like there's a few. Hi Blaze, have a good lurk. Okay. I should have added Gunny's quote. I'm a stelliate at the bando. But Next up, I'm going to mention stelliums because as I go house by house, I'm going to tell you what it might look like if you have a stellium in that house. So, a stellium is when several planets are concentrated in the same sign or house. So there can be I can't get words out. There can be a stellium in a certain sign. So you can have like a Capricorn stellium, or there can be a stellium in a house, a 12th house stellium. So a house stellium can make that area of life feel especially emphasized or important in the chart. The specific planets involved in a stellium still matter, so not every stellium is going to look or feel the same. And you also don't need a stellium for a house to be important. It just adds like extra concentration of energy there. So, stellium, I barely knew them. Gunny is stellied. Stellied, crazy. And then next up, before I start diving into everything else, I want to say that an empty house simply means there's no planets, no natal planets placed there. Everyone has empty houses. There are 12 houses and only so many planets. You can have your chart all spread out and you're still going to have empty houses. So, an empty house is not bad, missing, or inactive. You will still experience all of the life areas represented by that house. If you want to go deeper, you can look at the sign on the house cusp and its ruling planet for more information, which I will briefly touch on at the end to help Mocha understand the like rulerships a little bit more. But the main takeaway, because people always ask this when learning about houses, empty does not mean it's unimportant. Empty doesn't mean it's bad, it's inactive, whatever. You're gonna have empty houses. So, all good before we dive in. Empty house means you can't afford no furniture and there's an echo. Exactly. Under my stellium. Stellium. I love it. The commentary. I love the commentary. Perfect. Okay. Anything else? I'm gonna take a drink of my water and then we're gonna start from the very beginning of the chart. Okay. So, the Ascendant, your rising sign. Before we dive into the houses, we need to talk about the Ascendant, which you have probably heard called your rising sign, because this is what sets the whole chart up. Your rising sign is the sign that was rising on the eastern horizon the moment you were born, which is why birth time matters so much. The last thing I'm going to mention, I'm like, last note before we go house by house, is there are different house systems. So, these are different ways astrologers use one moment to divide up the house. Let me see. Blaze, thank you for the 7-stream streak. And thank you for 7s. We got 7s all around. Thank you for the 7 months, Blaze. And thank you for the 7-stream streak. I appreciate you. Thank you. No worries. Absolutely not. I'm sorry I have to keep going back and forth between my notes and my chat, so you're totally good. You're good. But yes, so sometimes you might look at a chart and the houses look like they're laid out a little different. Yeah, it depends on the system. the house cusps and some of the planetary house placements can shift, so your chart may look slightly different on different websites or apps. You don't need to worry too much about choosing a house system when you're first learning. For now, just know that if you see a placement change houses somewhere, it doesn't necessarily mean that one chart is wrong. They may be using different systems. There's Placidus, whole sign, equal house. So some of them make these houses like all be equal sizes. Mainly what I use and a lot of modern astrology uses is Placidus. And so that'll have different size houses. But yeah. So. Okay, what if my house has black mold and the building supervisor is saying it's just a bit of mildew? It's probably just mildew then. Best of luck to ya. Okay. So, that is just a little bit on the ascendant. The ascendant is always going to be right here on this left side of your chart. Okay. We are ready to dive in to the first house. Mike Wazowski, I love it. Okay, first house. One more sip. So I have itchy nose again, you guys. I don't know what's happening. Is it my makeup? Okay. So, first house. This is the house of self, identity, body, appearance, vitality, and how you approach life. Think of the first house as the front door of the chart, how you enter the world. It can describe your personal presence, the way you instinctively meet new situations, and how you tend to come across to others. Because it is so closely tied to the body, it can also speak to physical expression and embodiment, not just personality. So, what it means to have placemates here. Words. Planets in the first house tend to become a very visible and personal part of you. You may strongly identify with the qualities of those planets. Their energy can affect your personality, presence, appearance, or the way you instinctively approach situations. A first house stellium, for example, can make identity, self-expression, and personal presence major themes in your life, with a lot of your chart's energy concentrated around developing and expressing your sense of self. So as I go through the houses, I will I'll give a few examples for a placement or a sign in that house. So, for example, someone with their moon in the first house, their emotions and instinctive reactions may be especially visible or very closely tied to their sense of self, and they may experience life very personally and have a presence that feels emotionally expressive or responsive. So the first house being like yourself and your appearance and your vitality, and then the moon being what rules your emotions. Like this person may seem to wear their heart on their sleeve. Someone, for example, with Aquarius in the first house may approach life in an independent, unconventional, intellectual, or individualistic way, and may be especially comfortable doing things differently from the crowd. The first house is an angular house, so planets here can feel especially prominent in the chart. And a common misconception, the first house is not simply about how you look, it includes your whole way of inhabiting yourself and approaching life. Continue, Professor. Thank you, Blaze. Yes, yeah, kind of how you show up, how you instinctively react to things. Like, this is the chart that was like the moment you were born. This is how you took a step into the world. CoStar uses a wacky system. I don't even know the name. But it's not, since it's not even a circle chart, I think it's gonna make it harder, especially with the houses. I think especially if you're looking at houses, I would not look at CoStar. Hold on. Can I look away? Look away. Spoiler, 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 spoiler. Okay. Oh, this is tough. Let me use this one as an example. So, yeah, CoStar's confusing. CoStar is kind of like AI astrology. And they kind of do their own thing. So, here is a chart that is a good example. This might help you understand a little more, Mocha. So if you're looking at your chart, here, would this one be better? Here, let's use this one. Yes, CoStar is made by mathematicians, not astrologers. Yes, I use Placidus. That's my preferred. Okay, here's a chart. So, and I really like, this is a time passages chart. I love time passages. Let's try this one. So, the best way to look at what rules each of your houses is to look at the cusp of the house. So, here's the first house right here. Here's the first house. The cusp of your house is that very first line, and you're going to look at the sign that is on that line. So, this first house right here is a Scorpio first house, and that would make the chart ruler Mars, or the house ruler Mars, because Mars rules Scorpio. And see, again, that's where it kind of gets a little more intermediate, because you have to have an understanding of like the rulerships of the signs. But to break it down, this is the 6th house here. So this is going to be an Aries 6th house. Look at, this is the 10th house here. You're going to look at the cusp line right there. So this is going to be a Leo 10th house. So, does that kind of help visually, like, make it make a little more sense, Mocha? Yeah, basically where that sign, or sorry, where that house starts, you're looking at the sign there. Yes, so these are, yes, I think what kind of helped me understand the layout of all of this is basically the middle of the chart right here, bloop, is you when you were born, and the line right here, which is the ascendant, descendant, this is the horizon. This is the horizon. This is Earth and us. And this is everything above, is the sky above us. So all of the signs above us. And then here's the horizon. And this is like under the Earth, the nighttime. This is everything that wasn't visible, everything below. if that like helps visualize, I could probably find like a graphic that makes that visual make even more sense. But basically, if you think of yourself as here, this is the horizon, as above so below, exactly. This is top of the sky, midheaven, and straight below, opposite side of the earth. So, hopefully that helps it make sense a little bit. Back to the first house. We'll get to those examples. We'll get to those examples again at the end. But I hope that helps. I hope that helps it makes sense when I say, for example, in Aquarius first house, which would be your first house. Yeah. Yeah. So let me know if you guys have any more questions. But that's the first house. I think Chris said something, right? Is it like how you authentically show up, or is it more of like the you that you present to the world? It is more like how you authentically show up. It is more how you view the world. It's you, yourself, your instinctual reactions to things, stuff like that. Okay. Next up, did anybody have any questions about the first house? That is your U house, which it makes sense because you have your ascendant there, your rising sign, which I know sometimes people say is like the mask you wear, but it is like it's how you view the world and how you instinctively react to things. It's, some people say it's your appearance, your body. If there are no other questions. Nothing in the first house except for a chrome of life force. First house is appearance, and even if that appearance may be a mask. Kind of. Okay, I think it'll make more sense as we go through more of the houses, because there are houses that are how you're perceived, right? There's a house later down the line. No, you're good. We're still in the first house. So totally valid questions. But yeah, so like the 10th house that we'll get to later is like your public image. So this is less of like how you present and more of like who you are to your core. Okay, so second house. That first house is an angular house. I can't remember if I said this part already. So the planets here can feel especially prominent in the chart. But yeah, let us get into the second house, which is assets, resources, talents. The second house is connected to money, possessions, resources, talents, values, and material security. So if the first house is you, the second house is what you have and what you can use. So this can include your income, your belongings, your personal resources, your skills and talents, and things that help you feel secure and supported. It is especially connected to your own money and resources rather than money that's shared with other people. It can also describe your inner resources, like your abilities, strengths, talents you draw from. So what it means to have placements here. Oh, let me go to my graphic here. Makes sense. Perfect. What it means to have placements in the second house. So planets in the second house can strongly shape your relationship with money, earning, possessions, security, and self-sufficiency. So they can point toward talents or abilities that become useful resources in your life. So a stellium here in the second house can make all of these things, money, security, resources, stuff like that, major recurring themes in your life, with a strong focus on building stability or learning what truly makes you feel secure. So, for example, having Jupiter, which is the planet of like expansion and luck and optimism, may bring generosity, optimism, or expansiveness around money and resources. It can be a strong sense of abundance, though sometimes may be a tendency to overspend or overdo it. Having Taurus on the second house may bring These people may seek security through stability, consistency, comfort, and tangible resources. That was loud. That's the loud one. Thank you, Gunny. Speaking of resources, wake it up. Now, are you guys hungry? That looked delicious. Thank you, Gunny. My moon, Leo. Ooh, okay, Leo. I need to breathe again. That startled me. Whole chat got empty. Yeah, I think. Is mine empty? Mine's pretty empty. But again, empty houses don't mean. Oh, Chris, maybe I don't know if you were here for the empty houses talk. Oh, there it is. Empty houses. No, I know. Empty houses aren't a bad thing. So I have no talent. So I have no resources. That's that traditional astrology. Empty second house. I have a scary aspect in my second house. I'm destined to be broke. Okay. Our houses may be empty, but at least we have each other. All of us with our empty second houses. That's why we get along. No, but again, if your house, any of your houses are empty, you can refer to that sign, whatever sign is right on that cusp of the beginning of that house, and that can tell you more information. So yeah, like someone with the Taurus on the second house may seek security through stability. Like I was saying, someone with Sagittarius on the second house may take a more optimistic or flexible approach to money and resources, maybe tending to spend on experiences and travel and expansion rather than prioritizing like stability or building. Hi Beans, trying to get into astrology for my girlfriend. Well, you've come to the right place. I have this is my 4th part, so I actually have a few other beginner classes. This one starts to get a little more intermediate, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Yes, I do. My very first video I did on this was like a beginner astrology, like the starter, how to get into it. And we're learning about the houses now. But welcome in. I hope you're doing well. Empty house, empty soul. Oh, okay. Anything else? Yeah, simple shorthand for the second house would be like my resources. It's broader than just money. It is also about what you value and what helps sustain you. And this is a succedent house. So the first house was the first house was an angular house and was like a very prominent action house. The second house is succedent, so it's one of the building houses, taking the self that was established in the first house and developing the resources needed to support it. So, are we ready for the third house? Any second house questions? Empty house. Because the rent is too damn high. Oh, told me some basics, but I need a refresher. I know. Beans, I have been studying astrology for years, and I always feel like I need a refresher. There's always more to learn and to remember. It is so complex, but I love that your girlfriend is into it. The rent is too damn high. Okay, third house. Moving right along. Are we ready for some third house? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Bing! Right there. Right there she is. So, the third house is connected to communication, learning, siblings, extended family, your local environment, and everyday movement throughout the world. It describes the people and places that are part of your immediate orbit. This can also include siblings, cousins, neighbors, your local community, short trips, familiar places, conversations, writing, texting, social media, books, language, everyday learning, and information exchange. A simple way to look at the third house is your everyday world. So what it means to have placements in the third house. So planets in the third house can strongly influence how we think, speak, write, learn, and communicate. They can also be important in your relationships with siblings, extended family, neighbors. A third house stellium can make all of these things I mentioned before major recurring themes in your life. And these can make a lot of your energy focused on exchanging information and making connections. 3 is empty too. Mocha's gonna be hanging in there till we get to 12. You got a few others spread out. Okay, so an example would be like Mars in the third house may communicate more directly, quickly, passionately, or argumentatively with a strong drive to say what they think. Someone that has Capricorn on the third house may communicate in a more careful, practical, structured, or serious way, may prefer to think things through before speaking. And the third house is a cadent house. So we've gone through all of our examples. It fits in with the learning and processing of the part of the house rhythm. There's also a really strong theme of movement and exchange here. Ideas moving between people, messages being shared, and you moving through your familiar environment. Ooh, I have is your south node in the third. Interesting. And I love that that means your north node. Your south and your north node are always going to be opposite each other. So I love that means your north node is in the ninth. But yeah, 3 Taurus. So Taurus, third house. Interesting. And 3 placements. I love that. The nodes. I wish I could get into the nodes because I find them so fascinating, but they do get a little more into like the intermediate territory. But I do have a really interesting book that I can pull some information. If you're interested in the nodes, what is it called? Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. I think that whole book is all about the nodes. And basically, without getting too deep into it, the nodes are your lunar nodes, and in astrology they can have to do with like your destiny. So the north node is the energy you're trying to work towards, like your destiny, because I was explaining in one of my last streams about eclipses and how they're tied to your destiny and moving you to where you're meant to be. And the lunar nodes have to do with the eclipses. And your north node is the things you're having to learn and work towards in this lifetime. And the south node is kind of themes that you're working away from. So, fun stuff, interesting stuff. Alrighty, any third house questions before we dive in? We're officially a quarter of the way through the houses. Itchy nose, itchy nose. And now that we've gone through 3 houses, we officially are to another angle in the chart. We are to another angle, which is the IC. What's this? What's this? Jasmine, 17 months. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for the resub and for 17 beautiful months together. I appreciate you. We just went through the first 3 houses in astrology, and I'm about to teach about the IC. So, we have gone over the Ascendant, which was the first of the angles, there with the first chart. Now, we are talking about the IC, which is at the bottom. The IC, or Imum Coeli, I think, is one of the 4 major angles in the birth chart. Imum Coeli means bottom of the sky in Latin, and it sits at the lowest point of the chart. It is associated with the 4th house area. So the IC represents your roots, your home, your family, your upbringing, ancestry, and your private inner world. It can speak to the environment you came from, but also to the kind of home or sense of belonging you try to create for yourself later in life. I like to think of it as the root system of the chart, the part underneath everything else that helps support the rest of you. So the IC gives us this foundational point of home, roots, and private life that leads us directly to the 4th house, which expands on all of these themes. Chat. I see. Hi, Dugan. Here's my examples. So it does depend on the house system, right? So yes, the IC is associated with the 4th. I did want to point out that depending on the house calculation system, the IC may not always literally be at the exact bottom of the chart. So here we have the Ascendant and Descendant, which is straight across, but on this one you'll see the IC is over here a little bit. So it's always going to be marked on the chart because these angles are very important, but like this one goes this way. So it's not always, depending on the house system, it's not always going to be exactly straight up and down. This one's slanted this way a little bit. But like this one, up and down there. So, if that helps. But yeah, it's always going to be associated with the 4th house. And so, Chris, you're asking about the Ascendant, if that being like how people view you. The IC is like who you are behind closed doors. This is your like more of your inner world. I think I dive into that a little more on the 4th house. So let me just dive in there. But you know, it's interesting that you asked because the MC, which is the top of the chart, is like your public view. The IC at the bottom of the chart is you behind closed doors. The Ascendant is like kind of who you are to your core. So they're all different aspects of you, and they are all valid, just different points. Your sun is in your 3rd house. Oh, I love that. 4th house still 0. So I'm homeless. So I have an empty house. and I'm homeless. Great. Ooh, Mars is in your 4th. Interesting. No, I have a home technically. So 4th house. Let me dive in here. So you will see the 4th house, as mentioned with the IC. The 4th house is connected to home, family, roots, ancestry, upbringing, and your private life. This represents where you come from, both literally and emotionally. So this can include your childhood, caregivers, and family dynamics, ancestry or lineage, your home environment, your sense of safety, comfort, and belonging. It can also describe the version of you that exists behind closed doors, who you are when you're not performing for the outside world. Simple way to think about it is, what feels like home to you? I saw some chats come in. Hold on. Taurus, 4th. Gemini. Ooh. Leo, nice. So I'm still performing. Less performing, I think, if I think of like Leo 4th house, I think that it would probably have more to do with like your creativity and your enjoyment being a big part of what makes you feel like comfortable at home. Having like joy around you and the things that like fulfill you and make you happy. Mars is the planet for war, so that must mean violence is home to me. Got it. My home is a battlefield is what I'm reading. I think I'm reading it wrong. I need to go back over my notes. I'm happy to look over it with you if you like. If anybody has any questions. Gemini. Ooh, okay. Desk is built up waiting. If you needed pieces to finish building the computer. Just got my old setup back in place. So I have a PC to use while I'm getting everything set up. Been a busy little bee. My space is totally transformed. Things are moving forward. Glad I got myself back online to catch your stream, Jasmine. I'm so excited for you. I'm glad that things are coming together and your space is transformed. I love this for you. It makes me so happy to hear this, Jasmine. Thank you so much for the update. Oh, things are moving forward. Let's go. Let's go. My childhood home was a battlefield, so I guess that makes sense. I haven't peeped my natal chart in a hot minute, but I'm gonna give it a more discerning look now. Yes, do again. Walk through it with us. It has, Jasmine. It makes me so happy to hear that update, though. That things are starting to move forward. I love it. Let me see. Yes, yeah. We've got a few options. I was looking at Channy's website before stream and added that because I love anything that Channy does. And the birth charts over there are beautiful. And also, if you get the Channy app, it also helps break down your chart a bit too. So, very interesting. And she goes over the houses and all of this stuff as well, if you need some additional resources. But what it means to have placements in the 4th house. So, placements here can strongly influence your home life, family relationships, upbringing, and your emotional security. That's a big one. They may describe something about the environment you grew up in, your relationship with caregivers, or the kind of home that you want to create for yourself. Someone with a 4th house stellium can make home, family, emotional security, all of that major themes in your life with a strong need to understand your roots or create a foundation that truly feels like your own. Someone with, like Venus in the 4th house may create a strong desire for beautiful, peaceful, comfortable home and can emphasize harmony, closeness, or affection with family relationships. Someone with Aquarius on the 4th house may have a less traditional or a more independent approach to home and family, and may need home life that allows plenty of freedom and individuality. A Pisces sun, Aries moon with a Gemini rising. Ooh, lots of Aries. Ooh, fiery. Nice. Okay. Gemini rising. Interesting. Okay. Pisces sun, Aries moon, Gemini rising. I love it. Bubba's here. Let me see. Sorry. Sun, Libra. Oh, okay. Your sun in Libra is in your 4th house. Ooh, okay. So the sun being in your 4th house may be that you're most comfortable or you're most yourself when you are in your home or your comfort zone or around like your people, your comfort zone, stuff like that. And the Libra being ruled by Venus means you want a home, you want your comfort zone to be very peaceful and have a lot of harmony. That track. Hi, Bubba. What are we doing? What are we doing? You hang out here? You hang out here? It does. Nice. Okay. So, we're back to the angular houses. 4th house is an angular house, so it's a more foundational and prominent area of the chart. So this house is not only about the family you were born into, but it can also describe the home and family that you choose to create for yourself. Home does not always mean a literal house. It can also mean the people, places, traditions, or environments that make you feel rooted and safe. We have a treat time. Do you want a quick treat time? I think I get Did you want a treat? Sorry, Acorn. There you go. He heard. I know. Did you see that? That caught me off guard because I didn't think he'd be able to hear that. Yes, yeah. So a stellium is just going to be like a cluster of placements. There's discussions with astrologers on what exactly entails a stellium, what needs to be involved, but generally speaking, 3 or more clustered together, either in a house or a sign, is going to be a stellium. Your treat? They're screaming. Oops, I didn't mean to. I clicked the wrong button. There's the babies. Thank you, Jasmine. Ooh, 9, 10, and 11. I'll have 4 or more in each. Ooh. If you're here at the end, I have a few example charts that have stelliums, and I can kind of walk through what I was talking about with like there being some debate about what counts as a stellium. A lot of Acorn today. There we go. Good babies. Thank you, Jasmine, for the treat time. Okay. Whew. My headphones. Nice. So I do have notes on stelliums for all of the houses. So once we get up to those, you'll be able to relate. I know. Love seeing the voids get so excited for the Treatos. Okay, so got that. I think those were all my notes on the 4th house. Let's go to the party house. Now that we've established our home, let's party. Let's party. 5th house. So, the 5th house is connected to creativity, pleasure, romance, play, self-expression, and children. This is a part of the chart that asks, what brings you joy? It can describe creative hobbies and artistic expression, dating, flirting, romance, fun, pleasure, and entertainment, children and your relationship with them, and the things that you create and put out into the world. So the 5th house is less about responsibility and more about what you do because you genuinely enjoy it. So yeah, it can show how you like to express yourself. The fun house. What it means to have placements here. Scorpio, Venus. Ooh, I feel like Venus enjoys the 5th house. Scorpio. Ooh, so the Scorpio like adds a little bit of like an intense edge to the 5th house. Ooh, your Chiron. Ooh, okay, that's interesting. Not my chart reading me to absolute filth, right, Dugan? I hate I say I hate when that happens. I love when that happens because it makes me be like, damn, astrology. Empty again. What? Yes, so I think I mentioned Chiron a little bit in my examples, but Chiron is a point on your chart that is, everyone says, the wounded healer. So this is a place not a place in your life. This is a part of you that maybe needs some healing, that may be an area that you struggle with or you feel insecure about, or a place like something you need to work through. But this also can become like one of your greater strengths if you're able to heal that part of yourself. So I don't think I've really covered Chiron much, but it is obviously a placement that I find really interesting. I named my cat Chiron, so but yeah, it makes sense as a very emotionally in-depth writer. And yeah, and relationships in my inner child required a lot of healing. Ooh. Yeah, that could make sense. Like Chiron being in the 5th house could mean like also struggling to like just let yourself enjoy things. Whether that means like allowing yourself to let loose or like releasing perfection and being able to just enjoy things, like stuff like that. Chani versus Cafe Astrology do give me a fair amount of different house placements. I'm curious which, in your personal opinion, would you suggest take priority when reading them? So I wonder what house systems they use. Honestly, what I did and what I recommend is like just trying to study both charts, like the way that they both present them, and see what connects most with you. Like personally, I really enjoy the Placidus house system, which I think, hold on, house system Cafe Astrology uses. Cafe Astrology uses Placidus. What house system does Chani? Chani uses whole sign. So I think a lot of modern astrology uses Placidus. So that explains why you have different systems, or like have some different house placements. Personally, I use more Placidus, which would be what Cafe Astrology uses, but just genuinely like whatever you connect with. And honestly, like as I've studied astrology and met people that are like learning their charts, sometimes people will like really connect with Placidus for a few years as they study, and then suddenly they take an interest in whole sign and dive into it that way. So just being totally honest, I would always just breeze right past all the text it generates. Now I'm actually reading it and learning too much about myself. Dugan, I had that same experience. Like, I had like a mild interest in astrology, and then one day I had just started at the company that I work for now, and I actually printed out all of the text. It was like pages of text that Cafe Astrology gave, and I went through it with a highlighter and started highlighting, and that was like how I got into like learning my chart, is highlighting what I connected with or what I was trying to understand more, and that really got me into it. Hi Buzz, welcome in. Mocha likes a table because we're spreadsheet girlies, but I need Mocha to get comfortable with the circle chart because that's what the birth chart looks like. But you might like, well, I was gonna mention the aspects, but I don't think I have it on any of these slides. You're gonna have to walk me through it another time because it's not sticking. That's fair. It's definitely, I get your urge to like want a table because we're spreadsheet girls, but I do think like once you can start looking at the circle chart and understanding, like, that honestly gives you the best look at where everything is sitting in relation to each other, because something that's really important when you're reading charts is where things sit in relation to each other. So I'm not even going to attempt to try to teach aspects. That does get into like a little more intermediate territory, but I'm breaking down individual parts of the chart, which I can understand would be much easier to understand as a table, but when you're able to look at the chart as a whole, it's just as important to be able to see that, like, oh, this, Leo Mars here is like sitting opposite from the moon, and being able to look at like where things are in relationship to each other, which is called aspects in astrology. How it helps understand the whole story of the chart, because it's not just like piece by piece. It's how all of these things are sitting in relationship to each other and communicating with each other. So it makes a big difference. Where was I? Fifth house. Bort. Okay, planets. Okay, what it means to have placements here. Yeah, that's where we were. Planets in the fifth house can strongly influence how you create, play, flirt, take risks, and pursue joy. They can also show what kind of experiences make you feel most alive or creatively fulfilled. Someone with a fifth house stellium makes a lot of these things recurring theme in your life, with a strong need to create, enjoy yourself, and put something uniquely yours into the world. Someone with the moon, which rules your emotions, in the fifth house may feel really emotionally fulfilled through creativity, romance, play, time with children, and their moods can be closely tied to whether they feel free to enjoy themselves and express what they're feeling. Someone with Capricorn on the fifth house may take things like hobbies, dating, or creative projects more seriously and prefer activities that feel purposeful, structured, or worth investing time in. So, fifth house is just like joy and self-expression. It's a succedent house, so it fits into the building part of the house rhythm. The fifth house can describe both literal children and things that feel like your creations, art, projects, performances, stories, anything that you bring into existence. This is also a good place to mention the difference in romance and versus commitment. So further on, we're going to have a house that talks about relationships. In this one, we talked about dating, and so I just want to emphasize the difference. The fifth house is like dating, flirting, attraction, like the fun, the flame, the spark, whereas the seventh house, which we'll get into soon, is more about the commitment, the partnership. So yeah. Le gasp. Sammy on a 70 stream streak. Thank you so much for being here 70 streams in a row. Fifth house empty. No wonder I'm no fun. Joking, professor. Empty fifth house. I must not have any joy in my life. Love you, Squibby. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Sammy. Okay. Fifth house. Fifth house is a fun one. Light and fun. Now, let's get down to business. Just kidding. But like, how does one figure out the houses? Sorry, I wasn't here at the beginning, then it was dinner time. So, I kind of mentioned a little bit before. Are you asking like how they're calculated, or how you read your chart once it's already like laid out? Because I can show you an example. So when you calculate your chart somewhere, here's a good one. When you pull your chart from whatever website you go to, it shows your houses. So the first house is always going to start over on the left side, right? And it's going to break. Every chart has 12 houses. So starting from the left side, it's going to start with your first and go around this way. So the fourth house is always going to be kind of towards the bottom here. This is a time passages one, and it's really easy to spot. So here's the rising. We're going to have the first house starting here. Sometimes they're labeled, like you can kind of see the tiny number: first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, all the way around. But yeah, it can be kind of hard. Looking at charts from different websites can be kind of tough. Like these two are pretty well marked. Ones like this don't have the lines that go all the way through, but these numbers on the middle, on the inside, are marking where the houses are. So you have your ascendant, which starts your first house. Then we have the start of the second house, the start of the third, doop, 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 and all the way around. Same with this one. I think, yeah, these were the same site. So starting here at the halfway point line where your ascendant is, starts counting here. First house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, and so on. So yeah, depending on where you pull it, but every single website that you pull your birth chart from should have your houses marked. It's like a very core part of your birth chart. So it may be harder to spot in some charts, but every single one is going to have your houses listed on there. Yay, Amari, I'm so glad. I know that was such a pain. I'm so glad it's back up and running. Oh, I don't know anything about hardware, or I would love to help you. I'm so glad it's running again. Jeez. Oh, that computer and tech stuff is so stressful. Ooh. Alrighty, time for our 6th house. In such a mood now. I don't blame you. Tech stuff can actually like ruin your whole week. Alrighty, so now we go into the 6th house. We are almost halfway through the houses after this one. So the 6th house. The 6th house is connected to daily work, health, routines, habits, responsibilities, service, and pets. This is the part of the chart that deals with the things that you do regularly to keep your life running. So, this can include your day-to-day work and job duties, routines and habits, health and wellness practices, chores and responsibilities, organization and productivity, how you help, care for, or serve others, and pets and small animals. A simple way to think about the 6th house is, what does your everyday maintenance look like? So, planets in the 6th house can strongly influence your routines, work habits, health practices, and your relationship with responsibility. They can show what kind of energy you bring into everyday life and what you may need in order to feel productive, useful, or supported by your routines. Someone with a 6th house stellium may have a lot of those things like responsibility, routines, health as a major recurring theme, with a lot of energy focused on figuring out how to make everyday life function well. Did I see someone had a moon? Chris's moon. I have moon as an example. I do have a note on that because pets being included always makes me laugh. That's how I feel with children in the last slide, because we're like, fun, creativity, joy, children. This one, it's like daily routines, and then it's like pets. But I will cover that. Okay. Whew. Moon in the 6th house. Here, I have an example. Someone with the moon in the 6th house may have an emotional connection to routines and or caregiving, and their sense of well-being may be especially affected by their daily environment, work, life, or habits. Does that resonate? Someone with like Gemini on the 6th house may prefer variety and mental stimulation in everyday life, with routines that need some flexibility rather than doing the same thing every day. On like kind of the other hand, someone with Capricorn on the 6th house may approach work and responsibilities in a really structured or disciplined or goal-oriented way, and may feel best when daily life has very clear systems and expectations. The 6th house is a cadent house, so this is another area connected with adjustment, management, and the processes that keep life moving. It's less about your career or public reputation and more about the actual work you do day to day. We have a house coming up that is bigger picture career. This one is like your day-to-day work. Pets. My note on pets. Pets fit here through traditional association with small or domesticated animals. Traditional sources also connect this house with illness, labor, servants or workers, and smaller animals. So traditionally the 6th house had a bit of a rougher reputation around illness and toil, but modern astrology tends to broaden that into routines, work, and health practices. So the throwing pets in there is a very like traditional very traditional interpretation. Very emotionally tied to daily routines. That's me. Do not mess with my routines or I'll cry. Yeah, children the opposite. Opposite. Hi Brett, welcome in. Oh, and welcome back, Buppy. Welcome back. Okay, so basically, the shorthand for the 6th house is the upkeep of everyday life. Your upkeep, your day to day. Da da da. Da da da. Okay, we're officially halfway. We're officially halfway through the chart. How are we feeling? Are we lost? 6th house is Leo, so that could mean you would like a little more like creativity or fun in your day to day. It could mean you would like some weak point heart and artery. Some more like recognition for your day to day stuff. I love I find medical astrology really fascinating. Weak point, heart and arteries. I think I have a body or like a health astrology book somewhere. Oh. Oh, I can literally reach it. There's a whole study of astrology that has to do with the body and the health. And it's very fascinating. I'm feeling raw. Like, this chart is just beating me up, right? You're feeling red to Phil. Venus and Carbs, a love story. So this book, it goes sign by sign, and it talks about like what parts of the body are associated with each sign. It can talk about nutrition for signs, movement for signs. Oh, okay, I'm gonna leave this out. I kind of want to scroll through this a little more. Astro Cafe says I like to command and have authority. Very true. I'm very controlling when it comes to cooking and cleaning. See, that makes sense. The North Node. So what is your North Node in the 6th house? Or just the idea of the North Node? So this line was unneeded by Cafe Astrology. He is compassionate and sentimental. He likes isolated occupations, administration, archives, history, spirit of self-sacrifice. You're like too far. In my 6th house. Interesting. Should I grab my book? Well, might as well. We're learning. Oops. Sunflower fell. I just keep grabbing astrology books. It's my whole bookshelf. I really I'm getting off track. I really want my bookshelves to be behind me on screen because they're beautiful. Oh, does this not have houses? I might wait and send this to you after, Martine. I think it talks about the signs, not the houses. And I fear I will get very far off track. But I do find the nodes very interesting, and I'm happy to talk about them another time. Brett, how are you doing? Or once I get to an example chart, maybe we can talk more about it. I love Professor Squirrely. Thanks, Brett. Brett was so sweet and commented on one of my Acorns and Astrology YouTube videos, and stuff like that just means the world to me. I don't know, it makes me so happy to see my friends like watching and commenting on my YouTube videos. Other signs say that faithful relationships are important to me. This is true. I'm so against infidelity. Yes. Okay. I am gonna get to... I like all these different graphics. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I think this is a freaking AI graphic. Now that I'm looking closer. Damn it. Hold on. I'm gonna... Look at that. I was like, this is so beautiful. And I'm looking and all of these, like... I was working on this. I wanted to have a variety of pictures for the angles, and I'm looking at all these like warped. Oh gosh, the closer I look, I'm like, it's really bad. The like really warped symbols, and then this is like in no order. Leo. There's 2 Virgos. That's just an M maybe. I think that's supposed to be Scorpio. Capricorn, Aquarius, and then we kind of have Taurus. We have 2 Geminis. Oh, okay. Let me just I'm like, oh. Here, we're gonna look at this. So we're talking about the Descendant right here. I was like, it's such a pretty graphic. Read my message about the 7th house. Oh, did I miss one? Oh, according to my 7th house, it may have secret love affairs. I feel like it's the Leo wanting the like... Sorry, not saying that's true for you, but that's how they're reading that one individual placement. Is like, oh, Leo loves attention, so may have secret love affairs. Whereas if the rest of your chart, and again, why it's so important to look at your whole chart, is if the rest of your placements are like very monogamous, like you were saying, very faithful relationships, then, you know, that's why you got to look at the whole thing. But we're at the halfway point. We are in ads, but I'm gonna push on. I can't editor, edit out the last 10 minutes. No, but I'll call it out because I mean, it's very clear I'm using a bunch of different graphics because I wanted a variety of visual aids. I didn't personally use the AI to create that. I just thought it was really pretty, and I didn't look close enough because I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, it really shows you where the Descendant is. And so we're gonna look at this one instead. So I like this one because it lists, you know, it shows the numbers. And here we are on the Descendant. Am I canceled, you guys? Descendant. I lost my place. So, the Descendant is one of the 4 major angles in the birth chart. It sits directly opposite the Ascendant, and it marks the beginning of the 7th house. Generally, depending on the house system, it is associated with the 7th house. I should say. While the Ascendant is about you and how you enter the world, the Descendant is more about how you meet other people. It's associated with partnerships, close one-on-one relationships, and the qualities you may be drawn to in others. It can show what you seek, notice, or learn through important relationships. A simple way to think about it is the Descendant is me. Sorry, the Ascendant is me, the Descendant is you. And something else I find really interesting when you look at the chart as a whole. So you have the Ascendant, the me, and then the first 6 houses are all your internal world. It's all in relation to you. Your resources, your communication, your home, your roots, your joy, your habits, things like that. So the whole bottom half of the chart is all about you. The upper part of the chart, now what we're getting into as we're getting to the Descendant and the top half of the chart, is you in relation to the world around you. It's your 12th house that causes the love affairs. Oh, interesting. You'll have to tell me more once we get to the 12th house. But yeah, so as we hit the Ascendant, I keep saying them. I keep saying them wrong. As we hit the Descendant, we are getting into how you relate to the world around you. Oh, yeah. Any of those. I really like Cafe Astrology or astro.com. What is hold on. Oh, what did I just closed my notes. I'm gonna send another one too. That is, one moment. I should add it to birth chart. Oh no, sorry. Astro.com is, I know I hate when that happened. I used different browsers and I was trying to hit the new tab and I closed my tab. Astro.com is tied to time passages. Astro.com, Astrodient, whatever, is probably one of my favorites because I love using time passages. I know a lot of like professional astrologers use time passages, and Astro.com is the website version of that, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that's our Descendant. Ignore it. That's our Descendant, guys. Don't look too close. You can't cancel me if I cancel myself first. Anyways. Editor, cut all this out. Anyways. My apology video will be next up on my YouTube video. Alright. 7th house. 7th house is the house of committed partnerships. You'd have to do something seriously heinous for me to ever cancel you. You're stuck with me. Perfect. Noted. Just kidding. I don't plan on doing anything cancelable. Okay, I'm getting off track here. The 7th house. The 7th house is connected to partnerships, committed relationships, one-on-one connections, and contracts. So this can include romantic partnerships, marriage, close one-on-one friendships, business partnerships, clients, and other important one-on-one dynamics. A simple way to think about the 7th house is, how do you relate to other people? This is where I can start talking about the axes between the houses. Since we've already talked about all of the bottom houses, now I can talk about the upper houses, but how they relate to the ones across from them. So the me versus the we. So the first and the 7th house axis. Here we go. So the first house asks, who am I? The 7th house asks, who am I in a relationship with someone else? Who am I in relations to the people that I work closely with? Oh, almost closed my chat. Hello, princess. Hi, Rainbow. Welcome in. Good to see you. We're talking astrology today, if you don't mind. Talking through the houses. So, planets that are in the 7th house can strongly influence how you approach relationships and what kind of dynamics become important in a partnership. I'm gonna make the joke first. I have an empty house. I'm gonna die alone. So these placements can show what you value, you seek, you experience, or you learn through close one-on-one relationships. I was beating chat to the joke. People have been making the empty house jokes. So a 7th house stellium can make partnerships, and one-on-one relationships a major recurring theme in your life, with a strong tendency to learn about yourself through your connections with other people. Someone with like Mars in the 7th house may bring passion, assertiveness, competitiveness, or conflict into partnerships. Relationships may be an important place for learning how to balance your own wants with someone else's. Someone with like Cancer on the 7th house may seek emotional safety, care, loyalty, and a strong sense of family or belonging within partnership. The 7th house, we're back to an angular house now, making partnerships a potentially prominent area when there's planets placed here. The 7th house and the Descendant can describe qualities that we are especially drawn to in other people, including traits that we may not immediately recognize or emphasize in ourselves. A lot of astrologers will look at your Descendant in your 7th house for what traits you look for in a partner, or what traits might be a good match for you in a partner. The 7th house, as I was saying earlier, is more about committed partnership than the playful dating and romance themes that we saw in the 5th house. Also, fun fact about some traditional, that harsh astrology. Traditionally, the 7th house included open enemies, which sounds dramatic, but the logic is basically that this house represents the person directly across from you, whether they're your partner or your opponent. Ooh, mine has Jupiter. You're afraid to look at your chart? No, that's not my goal here. I wanna teach and help make it more understandable. I want to make it not scary. It's all jokes when I'm doing the doom and gloom. Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter in the 7th house. So Jupiter, if you look at the traditional astrology, Jupiter brings the luck. So it could mean you're going to be, lucky in partnerships. But if you look at modern astrology, Jupiter is all about expansion and growth. So you could find a lot of your growth and expansion in your life through your relationships with other people, specifically like one-on-one. There could be a lot of growth and learning in that, which in its own way is very lucky. My chart is depressing, I don't like it. Then you're looking at it wrong. Let me help you look at it in a good way, because there's no good and bad. At least you're hot. That's also true. Also true. Ooh, Descendant is Virgo. That's right. Because you're Pisces rising. I'll take it. There are no dumb questions. And I'm like, that was dumb. What's your question? Also, Martine, I'm looking at my cookie. Were you the one that says Jersey Mike's has the best cookies? Was it you, Martine? So is first house always Aries, second always Taurus? No. Everyone has them differently. Where's my examples? So, for example, this one, first house is Scorpio, and so on. Now, some people, like, it could be confusing. If you have an Aries rising, it kind of lines up with, oh, they're brownies. That's what it was. Ooh, McAllister's. But yeah, so it's different. So it does go in order, but for example, my Aries starts like over here. Hi, Meg. Welcome in. I mean, Meg, you're late to class. Please take your seat. Get your notebook out. You're falling behind. You gotta get caught up. Megan's gonna see you. Sure, yes, Dugan. Ask away. So it's always gonna go in order, Chris, but the order that it starts depends on what time you were born. So, yes, so if your first house is Aries on the left, basically the moment you were born, which is why the birth time and location is so important. This is basically the moment someone was born, and Scorpio was rising on the eastern horizon the moment of this birth chart, the moment this person was born. This is another Scorpio. Scorpio was rising on the eastern horizon the moment this person was born. Here it was Aquarius. Aquarius was rising the moment this person was born. Taurus was rising. So they're always in the same order. But it's basically, it rotates depending on what time you're born. So yes, yeah, if Aries is on the left, then yours starts that way. What's the symbol next to the 17 at the top of this chart? So the top of this chart, that is the Leo symbol, if that's what you're asking. That is a symbol for Leo. So each of these are different signs that represent the zodiac signs. So Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, that is the Leo symbol. But no, Aries isn't always the first house. Does it not? Does Astro.com not show the houses? Trying to remember what all the charts look like. Okay, well that changes things for me then. Oh, back on Monday. Oh, congrats on your Disney ticket. Let them write this down. Ooh, entry of the Leo symbol. That's where the IC is. Okay, so Leo is at the bottom of your chart. Oh, interesting. Buppy, if you want to post, I bet Mocha would tag you in the mystical vibes where we drop our charts. If you want to drop it there, I'm happy to answer any questions or take a look. That goes for anybody. If you're not in the Discord, I'm so happy to take a look. I was just walking through it with Dottie and explaining where her rising sign was and kind of helping to understand, and I'm always happy to answer any questions. Yeah, so that would just be the Leo sign. Same with, where's Leo? My brain's melting. Oh, Leo's green, it blended in here. So like this one has Leo here, 7th house. Yeah, it should. I'm thinking every site I've worked with puts the houses because they're such an important part. But if one of those websites doesn't give the houses, then maybe try one of the other ones. Where was I? 7th? But yeah. Yay. Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah. So your Aries is, your rising is Aries. DC Libra. Okay, I see. It makes sense. I like that Channy app. Okay, cool. I'll have to take a look. Let me hydrate. Okay, I think... Yeah, okay, I got through the 7th house. Read all of my notes on the 7th house. Now, the mysterious 8th house. So, the 8th house. Spooky. The 8th house is connected to shared resources, intimacy, inheritance, debt, taxes, and other people's money. This can include shared finances, taxes, and debt, inheritances, investments, a partner's money or resources, emotional and physical intimacy, experiences involving loss, endings, or major change. A simple way to think about the 8th house is, what do we share and what happens when our lives become deeply intertwined with other people? So we just had the 7th house, which is where we start with the partnerships. Now is how we integrate with those partnerships. Let me check my chat. Hi Kristen, welcome in. I guess I don't get any money from people. No 8th house placements. Ooh, I feel like Pluto is happy in the 8th house. Thank you, Buppy. Yeah, I'll have to take a look. Why is there a house about taxes, right? Welcome me, Kristen. I know. This is like kind of this. The 8th house is so interesting because the 8th house is one of the houses in traditional astrology that's like, you're gonna die. I know. Oh my gosh, Jasmine. Whenever you're ready, I won't push you into it. But I find astrology and birth charts such an interesting tool for self-reflection. But I think if you are in a headspace where things might freak you out, then I would say don't. But I think it's just a really cool tool for self-reflection. I don't think personally there's nothing in astrology that you should see that should scare you, especially with more modern astrology, like, which is more of what I teach. It shouldn't have a lot of the doom and gloom and like scary predictions, because I don't believe in like a lot of the traditional astrology, like fear mongering. But I do think you have to be in a certain headspace to be able to like have healthy self-reflection. Yeah, exactly. But let's see. Planets in the 8th house can strongly influence shared finances, trust, intimacy, vulnerability, and experiences that require us to rely on or merge with others. An 8th house stellium can make a lot of these things a big recurring theme, with a strong pull towards understanding what exists beneath the surface. So, well, I'm skipping ahead. Let me give my examples. Someone with Mercury in the 8th house may be more drawn to deep conversations, secret psychology, research, mysteries, or subjects that other people hesitate to discuss. Communication around trust or shared finances may also be especially important. Someone with like Gemini on the 8th house may need communication and intellectual understanding in order to feel comfortable with intimacy, trust, or shared financial agreements, and may approach difficult topics with curiosity. The 8th house is a succedent house, again, it continues on our building rhythm. But here we're dealing with resources and support that involve other people rather than solely our own. Oh, I skipped the axis talk. So where the second house we were talking about, the second house is about our resources, not just financially, but our talents and our skills. The eighth house is like, what do we share? My resources versus our resources, like the literal physical resources, but also shared things like intimacy, trust, transformation. What belongs to you? Yeah, the second house is what belongs to you. The eighth house is about what is shared, merged, owed, inherited, or exchanged with others. Second house is what do I have? Eighth house, what do we share? Yeah. The eighth house has a spooky reputation, but it is not simply the house of death. It can also deal with topics that are private, taboo, complicated, or difficult to talk about openly. You'll hear the eighth house described as the house of transformation in a lot of modern astrology. Traditionally, in that old school astrology, it was much more literally associated with death, inheritance, debt, and other people's resources. Modern astrology has expanded that into the psychological experience of what happens when we go through sharing, loss, vulnerability, intimacy, and major change. So, eighth house, what we share and what changes us. Yes, once you get away from places like CoStar and the traditional old school astrology, it's not as scary. It's more of like a personality tool to better understand yourself. Exactly what Chris said. Exactly. And also, if there's stuff you don't vibe with, there's so many different kinds of astrology. Like I was saying, there's different ways that people lay out the houses. So like Chris, you use the Chani website, which uses the whole sign house layout. If you're looking into it and you're kind of like, I'm not sure about this, you can always jump over to Cafe Astrology, look at your chart there, and maybe see if some of that clicks more with you. You know, it's all about finding the resources and finding the descriptions and the things that make sense to you. And maybe those change as you learn more, but it's, it's such a good way to learn is to look in different places and see what makes sense to you. Hi Clover, welcome in. Sorry I'm rambling. You've probably been here for 10 minutes. Oh my gosh, exactly, Buppy. Astrology is so fun for conversation openers, especially with people that are open-minded and like willing to discuss it. How are you doing, Clover? Major characteristics of a Taurus. I love that. Yes, look at astrology like personality types and tests. Like, take what resonates with you and dive into that. Got nothing here too, but I low-key fucks with Optimus Prime. Perfect. 8 and second both empty. You're like, no resources, I guess. No resources, damn. Ooh, Pisces on my 8. That's interesting because that Pisces is like such a flowy, emotional placement. Like mutable. No intimacy for me. Baron. These empty houses messing us up. Oh, you have Pisces on your 8th too. Would Capricorn on your 8th? Interesting. In high school, I didn't think Capricorn fit me because of how money-driven people said it is. Then I got my first adult job. Like, it is, like the the money driven part is like definitely I don't know if stereotype is the right word, but it's like an oversimplification of Capricorn. I'm like, I don't yeah, I feel like oversimplification is the word I'm looking for, because there's so much more to it. We can change that. So much of my chart is emotional placements, right? As your Cap twin, I always felt driven by the stability money brings, not the desire to just have money. Yes, that's such a good way to look at it, Mocha. Is like, I feel like I would use the words stability, yes, because it's an earth sign, but also ambition. And I think a lot of people translate ambition and stability straight to money and finances. And honestly, a lot of time that fits, but I don't think that is necessarily the case for everyone. So I've been very driven to find a high-paying job just to have that stability, not just because I want to be rich. I love that, yeah. So that's a very traditional astrology take. 8th house. Capricorn on the 8th house. Natural death in very old age likely. Inheritance. That is like, that's something from like an old school astrology textbook. I like the approval of getting a reward for doing a good job. And I like buying things. Yes. Alrighty. Okay. So you gonna die old. That's better than, I think something, I was looking at an old textbook and it literally said for me, I had some sort of rough 8th house placement and it was like, oh, early death, sorry. Oh, we're really sticky, oh no. Okay, let us go on to the 9th house. I like the 9th house, it's fun. The 9th house, a fun one. Let's leave all that death and taxes. We're gonna leave it in the 8th house. 9th house, it's time to travel and party. If my 8th house is empty, how do I predict my death? You're never gonna die. Empty 8th house, you're not gonna die. You will also never get an inheritance. I'm so sorry. And also, you don't have to pay taxes, so submit that to the government. You just send your birth chart in. This is a joke, IRS. 9th house locked tomb, lesbians. How long have you been 17? Okay, this is where Chris's chart gets good. We're getting into the 9th house. Okay, we're here to party. We're here to travel. We're getting into the good stuff. 9th house. The 9th house is connected to higher learning, travel, philosophy, religion, spirituality, beliefs, and expanding your worldview. This is the part of the chart that asks what helps you understand the bigger picture. So, it can help describe college and higher education, long distance or international travel, religion and spirituality, philosophy and personal beliefs, publishing and teaching, culture, ideas, and experiences that broaden your perspective. So, if we look at the axis here, we have the 3rd house, which we talked about, what is close, familiar, immediate, and everyday. Then across the way, we have the 9th house, which is what takes us beyond the familiar and expands our worldview. So the 3rd house is more about gathering and exchanging information, while the ninth house is more about making meaning from what we know. So, a simple way to think about the ninth house is exploration, mentally, spiritually, physically, all kinds of exploration. Okay. All I keep thinking is I hope that my audio is fixed. So this copyright music is not on my VOD. No, I would know. Like, I hope I can post this to YouTube. I think my 8th house is empty, but not sure if I'm reading my chart right. Jasmine, I can't remember if you posted it in our... I think you posted it in the channel, maybe? Because I can always take a look. You guys feel free to put any questions in that chat. 9th house is Sag. Sag, Sun, Mercury, and North Node. Look at that. All 0. Uranus and Neptune. Nice. Mine is just my South Node and Pisces. Ooh, Pisces. Pisces 9th house is fun. It feels very whimsical. Jupiter and Scorpio in the Scorpio 9th house. I'll be able to look once we get to your turn. Yeah, oh, that's where you finally found your chart. Perfect. Yes, I'm happy to answer any questions. What else do I have? Okay. Placements. What it means to have placements in the 9th house. So, planets in the 9th house can strongly influence your beliefs, worldview, desire to learn, and relationship with exploration. These placements may create a strong pull towards travel, education, spirituality, teaching, publishing, or seeking meaning. Like, I keep making eye contact with Chris. Rain! Oh my gosh. Rain, you can always interrupt. Thank you so much for 4 months. You can always interrupt me. Thank you so much for the resub. I appreciate you, Rain. And I've loved these 4 months together. They've been magical. Okay. So, a 9th house stellium can make a lot of these things major themes in your life with a strong desire to keep expanding beyond what you already know. I love having you here so much. So Mercury North, I think I wrote down a Mercury example. Mercury in the 9th house may love studying big ideas, philosophy, religion, culture, or languages, and may enjoy teaching, writing, publishing, or sharing what they've learned. Sagittarius on the 9th house may approach learning and belief with curiosity, optimism, and openness, with a strong desire to explore beyond what is familiar. Someone with like Virgo on the 9th house might approach big ideas more analytically or carefully or practically, wanting beliefs and philosophies to make sense and hold up under scrutiny. Let's see. Last notes. The 9th house is a cadent house, so it fits into that theme of learning and processing and expanding understanding. This is the bigger picture house. The 9th house isn't only about physically traveling somewhere far away. Sometimes the 9th house experience is about ideas, education, beliefs, or encounters that completely change how you see the world. Always trying to learn more, especially when it has to do philosophy and stuff like that. And that's like, you can see it in your chart. And I love how much, you know, it mentions like writing, publishing, stuff like that as an author. I'm like, oh, it tracks. I love when astrology like just comes across so literally and you're like, oh. I see. I see. Okay, 9th house. 3/4 of the way done. Now we get to the non-AI graphic. The Midheaven. This is what we were looking at earlier. We got 3 more houses on this block. Yeah. So, we just keep getting like bigger picture and bigger picture too. I love like, you know, the first house starts with you, like you. Very literally you, and then it just keeps expanding. Your resources and your world, and then your home, and then it incorporates partnerships and then your exploration. Mine says I am a lifelong learner, which makes so much sense to me. Yes. I feel like you can like feel when people have that like 9th house energy, and they're just always so curious and wanting to understand and ask questions and know more and tell you what they've learned. This is a busy neighborhood. 12 whole houses. Hi, Crimson. Thank you. I keep touching my hair, but I think we're hanging in there. The glasses. Everyone seems to love the Professor Squibby glasses. Always been so fucking nosy. Like, that also feels kind of 8th house, like wanting to dig stuff up. What is this? Hype Drain. Thank you, Crimson. 7 months. Thank you for the resub, Crimson. I appreciate you so much. Big resub day. You guys, thank you. Thank you. My brother took our VCR apart as a kid just because he wanted to know how it worked and put it back together fine. I'm sure he's also a heavy 9th house person. Yes. Like wanting to know it all and understand it all. Okay. So, I referenced the Midheaven a little bit earlier. Like, I kind of want to... Does it ruin your immersion if I take these off for a second? 9th house is your sun. Ooh, a 9th house sun. Did I make a note on that? Ooh. Do you feel like drawn to travel and or keep like expanding and understanding more, to like feel what's the word I'm like, not secure, but like, I don't know, feel the most yourself? Oh no, that's on YouTube now. Jasmine, thank you so much for the 300 biddies. Oh, that's on YouTube now. No, I'm totally kidding, Jasmine. It was one of those moments where I take a step back and realize like, oh, digital footprint. My mom watches these sometimes. No, if it was like genuinely something I did not want seen, I would not put it online. It was a moment of like, oh, you do need more squirrely. If you made it to this point and you saw me throw my tail in a circle, come follow on Twitch. We have Taco Bell thirst traps. Hi, buddy. Except YouTube doesn't get the sounds on those because they're copyright. So they just get to see the Taco Bell thirst trap with no sound, and it's just me dancing and probably heavy breathing into the mic. A moment of, oh yeah, the internet is forever. Whoopsie. Exactly, Chris. It was a slight moment of my CosmicSquirrely TikToks have shown up on my boss's TikTok feed, and they know how to find all of this content. Oopsies. Ooh, I have a constant curiosity for life and the world. I want to be a lifelong learner. I would have 12 degrees, financing, willing. I love that. And that is, Clover, that is very ninth house. And so I love that. Very sun in the ninth house. I know. If degrees and education was free, just keep going to classes. It's okay. It's all good. My bosses are pretty chill. Okay. Haven wants me to get back to the lesson plan. The midheaven. So this is the last of the 4 angles, the four angular degrees, angles. We covered the ascendant, the you, the how you approach the world, the IC, which is your roots. It's the you behind closed doors. There is the descendant, which is the us, what the partnership, how you meet people, how you meet other people, partnerships, the us. Now we get to the midheaven. So this is the top of the sky here. One of the 4 major angles of the birth chart. MC stands for Latin Imum Coeli. Again, don't know about the pronunciation, never learned Latin, but it means the middle of the sky. It is associated with the highest point of the chart, and it connects strongly with career, public life, reputation, achievement, and visibility. Thank you guys for the hype train. It can describe what you're known for, how you show up publicly, and the kind of goals or accomplishments you may work toward. It can also point to the role you want to play in the larger world or the legacy that you hope to build. But the simple way to think of the midheaven is your public-facing direction, which leads us into the 10th house. We're in the last quarter. Let me check chat. I've always wanted a linguistics degree with a focus on history of languages and other odd degrees like that. Oh, I love that. Gnome and I sometimes have disagreements because I always want to learn more. I'm always Googling, reading up on things, having hyperfixations on learning, and Gnome is very blissfully unaware. I know, I tend to be a lot more like you, where it's like, oh, like, let me look into that. Let me peek. Oh, yes, the Sylveon. Yeah, can we shout out Amanda Speaks? She's also partner pushing. So, go show some love. Get that Sylveon. Get that Sylveon. Thank you, Mocha. My last occupied house. Bear 0. My public image, non-existent, empty house. No one perceives you, Haven. Researching constantly. I love it. I think it's such a good way to be, to like constantly be curious and looking into things and wanting to understand things. Okay, 10th house. Already following her. Perfect. Go get that emote. Okay. 10th house is connected to career, reputation, ambition, achievement, leadership, responsibility, and public life. This is the part of the chart that speaks to what you want to build, accomplish, and be known for. So, it can describe your career or your professional path, your public reputation, major goals and ambitions, leadership and responsibility, recognition or visibility, and the legacy that you want to leave behind. A simple way to think about the 10th house is, what are you working toward, and how are you seen in the world? So, oops, let me go to our chart here. So, the axis that we have is the 10th house and the 4th house, opposite each other. So, the 4th house, if you remember, it was your home, your roots, your private life, the foundation. The 10th house is your public life, your achievement, your reputation, and your direction. So the 4th house asks, where do I come from and where do I feel rooted? While the 10th house asks, what am I building out in the world? So a fun metaphor is like the roots versus the like blossom of the flower. Look very different. 10th is Capricorn. Ooh. Uranus, Neptune, Midheaven, Pallas Athena. Ooh. Makes sense. I have stuff in this house. I think about this stuff a lot. It also is a very Capricorn house. Like with the like modern associations. Haven, where do you have placements? Haven's just come in and called out all of his empty houses. Yeah, I'm mid. Don't gotta drive the knife deeper. Do you want me to look at your chart, Haven, and see where you shine? It's interesting that my 10th house is empty, but my 9th house said that I will be a trailblazer in my career. But I guess that means I don't have a lasting impact. I will re-emphasize, you guys, I know most of you are kidding, but empty houses don't mean that this area of your life is incircumstantial. It doesn't mean that this part of your life is inactive or bad or missing anything. It just means that that's not where like all of the emphasis is, or that's not where a lot of your personality like pushes towards, you know. So there can be plenty of like really successful people that have an empty 10th house. Professor's gonna smack us. I don't mind the joke. I don't mind the joke at all. I enjoy the joke. I just don't want anybody in here actually thinking that an empty 10th house means they're not going to amount to anything, you know? Like Kristen, you can have an empty 10th house and still be a trailblazer, and you can still make a lasting impact in your career, even if your 10th house is empty. It just means that maybe your personality or who you are, or that part of your life, may lead more towards like the expansion rather than the achievement, if that makes sense. Taurus in 10th with Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Okay, lots up there at the 10th. My 10th has Sag with a little cap. Nice. I think I'm a Libra in the 10th house. Ooh. So you want your like public, what's the word? Your public perception or your career to like have a lot of like peacefulness and harmony. Does that make sense? I'm not super familiar with Pallas Athena. I've definitely looked into it at some point. Oh no, let me get on my textbook. Where's the index? Oh, I don't think this one talks about it. Mercury and Pluto on the 10th. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Me working in the claim center and dying inside. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry, Dottie. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you need something where you can have a lot more peace and harmony, and yeah, that sounds so draining. Saturn, Aries. Oh, the site says self-consciousness. Makes sense. Oh no. Well, I could see Saturn like having there be like lessons and stuff around your public image. The Twilight Zone. Do some searching too. Yeah, I haven't done, I've done deep dives on some of like the asteroids or the different points, like the smaller points in astrology, but I'm not super familiar with the Pallas Athena. I bet if it's on your chart on the Chani website, then I'm sure Chani has up probably a web page about it. Oh, I sounded like a grandma there. You could probably check the Chani website. Maybe there's a web page on Pallas Athena. All about Pallas Athena. Oh. Here you go, Chris. My sun and my 10th house have very conflicting or hella niche meanings. My sun said I like professions in isolation, spirit of self-sacrifice. Whereas this is a reading for the 10th house. Aquarius on house 10, success in teaching, likes contact with others or to speak and explain in the profession. See, this, Dugan, is why I always will recommend either learning like to read the chart yourself, or I really recommend finding astrologers that can give readings, because everyone's chart has so much nuance that these websites can really only break down piece by piece. Merv! I hit my arm. Muff! Mr. Murstream, uh-oh, Mocha, better go save your streak. Hi, Raiders. You guys, I don't have my raid graphic on the screen. Hold on, let me... Oh, let me pull up my raid graphic here. If you guys don't know me, I'm CosmicSquirrely. We are doing some astrology lessons today. I am on episode 4 of my Acorns in Astrology, my cosmic classroom. But thank you so much for the raid. Oh my goodness. I always get so ADHD during raids. I'm like, what? But if anybody needs to raid and run, please feel free to go take care of yourself, get some water, get some food, all of that. Oh, but today, I'm not just CosmicSquirrely. Today, I'm Professor Squirrely. I've been studying astrology for some years now, and I thought it was a fun way to integrate Twitch and one of my passions. So I've been teaching Twitch about astrology. If you guys would like to help me meet a goal, I have a YouTube channel where I have posted previous parts of this. So if you'd like to watch older videos where I cover, like, I start from the very basics, and then I start talking about zodiac signs and planets, and we're talking about the houses today. But I do have a goal to hit 150 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the month. So any subscribe would help, and we would celebrate hitting that. But I also play different games and stuff on YouTube. But anyways, I've gone off on a tangent, which is also normal here. But welcome in, Merv. If any of you guys need a raid and run, go take care of yourselves. Did I forget anything else? Follow Professor, and I won't give you detention. I love your YouTube and tangents. Thank you. Follow if you guys like my tangents. But yeah, welcome in. We have made it through 3/4 of the birth chart, just talking about what each of the houses mean in astrology. Just kidding, you're wonderful. It's okay, Professor. But welcome in, friends. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're talking astrology. I do have a channel on my Discord where I let people drop their birth charts. And I can help answer any questions. If you're new to astrology, I am happy to help you with any questions you might have. I'm happy to provide any resources. I love talking astrology. I love talking tarot, anything witchy and magical I like talking about. So But yeah, that's what we're doing. Thank you so much for the raid. Thanks for bringing all the friends over. But yeah, so we are talking about the 10th house, which is right up at the top of the chart. And it is a part of the chart that talks about career, public image, your public roles. Did I get through all of my notes on this? But yeah, what are you working towards and how are you seen in the world? Talked about the axis. Okay. I was gonna go through examples now. Yes, Mocha's gonna tag the astrology corner in Discord. It's basically, I have like a witchy channel called Mystical Vibes, but there is a thread in that channel that's specifically for people to drop their birth chart. It's the astrology corner. I'm happy to answer any questions. And it's fun. I can look through all your birth charts. Bubba. All right, go nuts. Drop those charts. Already done it right. I think so. Thank you for the 5-stream streak. Nut. Thank you for the 5-stream streak. I appreciate. And what's nice is none of these sounds go to YouTube, right? My nut buddy. None of the mix it up sounds go to my YouTube VOD. So you will be watching on YouTube and just hear me randomly saying nut because I'm reacting to you guys nutting. I had to do it because we have all of those Taco Bell thirst traps, right? And all of my Taco Bell thirst traps have copyright music. And so I think on my first Acorns and Astrology video that went to YouTube, my editor had to creatively edit around some of my bit alerts. It was actually the Arthur Morgan bit alert that my editor had to edit over. So I fixed it after that, but now YouTube can't hear all of the fun sounds that we make here. To us, what? Puppy, thank you for the 3-stream streak. I appreciate you. Just like a squirrel. Okay, so 10th house. Someone, let's see. I can't even remember where I was. So the placements in placements in the 10th house, making it worse, can strongly influence your career, ambition, your public image, your achievement, and your relationship with success. These placements can make being seen, accomplishing something meaningful, or contributing to the wider world especially important. Thank you, Brett. I love the curtain bangs. They just don't always cooperate, so I have to keep the little comb nearby. If I stop touching it, would help. Oh yes, Raiders, if you just got here, I have the daily acorns as your daily check-in, but I also have a daily gemstone that you can get that ranges from super common to ultra rare, and we do have a gem leaderboard that goes, it resets every month, so we got some comments. Tiger's Eye, Amethyst, nice. So we get a little competitive with the gem leaderboard. Let's see. Right now, Crimson is in the lead. Mandy has been very lucky with gems the last few months. Oh my gosh, Brett, yeah, you're number 6. Let's go. Mandy has gotten first the last 2 months. Oh, Dottie got a rare gem. Ooh, I love malachite. Mandy's hanging on to number 2. Okay, let me get back into it. We can keep yapping, but this YouTube video will be 4 hours. Yeah, gotta get those gems. The acorns and the gems. Gotta make sure, but I know people get really competitive with that leaderboard. Thank you. Oh, you see Olive? That's probably who suggested. I love that, Dugan. I love that. We love Olive. Big Olive fans in here. We also have the squirrel around game. Every 10 minutes you can send a squirrel out and it'll bring you back a goodie. And Olive loves squirreling around. So, but of course, thank you guys for the raid and thank you guys for coming in, and there it is. We got a Pokemon squirrel. And there's like 60 different items that the squirrels can bring you, and it keeps track of them for you. So that's a fun game we have. But and it's a Five Guys milkshake for Mocha. That was also, sorry, last tangent before I go back to astrology, but I like to do charity fundraisers with my stream. And one of the incentives for donating, if you donate a certain amount, you get to add an item, whatever you want, to our Squirrel Around game. So Mocha donated to our St. Jude fundraiser in May and wanted to add a Five Guys milkshake to the game. So that was actually Mocha getting her own item in the game. So yes, it's such a fun thing. But Mocha's killing it. 51 out of the 60 items, so she's up there in the lead. Nice. Okay, let me get into it. Feel free, keep yapping. I'm gonna get back to the 10th house. Someone with a 10th house stellium, which is 3 or more planets in the 10th house, can make career, achievement, reputation, and public contribution a major theme in your life. So that could have a lot of energy focused on establishing yourself or building something meaningful. Who did that? Murph, thank you for the sub. A brand new subby, thank you. A raid and a sub. I'm honored. Thank you, Murph. Thank you. I appreciate you. My nut buddy. My nutty buddy. Murphy. My nutty buddy. I like that. Who did that? Gotta. Marf, I'm still working. I gotta get a nut button. Nut buddy. My brother and nut. I don't know if I don't like that one as much. Anyways, let me get back before I say something even more silly. All right. Here's an example. I need a button. Thank you. Mocha keeps me on track. Okay, for real. We've yapped enough. YouTube is like, what is going on? Okay, so some example placements. Someone with Mercury in the 10th house may build a public or professional identity around communication, writing, teaching, speaking, analysis, media, or exchanging ideas. Another example is someone with Pisces on the 10th house may be drawn towards a career or a public role that feels creative, compassionate, spiritual, imaginative, or meaningful, and may need flexibility around what success looks like. Last notes for the 10th house. This is an angular house, so planets here can become especially prominent or visible. The 10th house is broader than simply your job. It can also describe leadership roles, reputation, accomplishments, responsibilities, or the way other people know you. Traditionally, in old school astrology, the 10th house was strongly associated with rank, status, authority, reputation, profession, achievement, and public standing, whereas modern astrology adds more language around it, like your calling, your purpose, fulfillment, life direction, and legacy. So, 10th house, what you're known for. So what's a 10th house? DJ is my love language. You'll fit right in here, Dugan. We're actually trying to behave because this is going on YouTube. Is normally It's normally even a little more unhinged, a little more degen, but we're trying to behave so YouTube will let people watch my videos. Okay. I lost my tab. Here we go. Here we go. 10th house. That was the 10th house. We are on to the 11th house. 2 houses left to go. 11th house. So, this 11th house is connected to friendships, community, groups, networks, hopes, and future goals. This is a part of your chart that looks beyond the individual and toward the people and communities you're a part of. It can describe friendships and social circles, communities and organizations, collaboration and networking, causes and shared ideals, people who support and encourage you, hopes, dreams, and long-term goals. So, a simple way to look at the 10th house is who are your people and what are you building toward together? So, to look at the axis, right? We had the 5th house, which was your creativity, your joy, your personal self-expression. And then on the opposite side there, the 11th house is how I connect and contribute within a larger community. So the 5th house is what do I love creating and expressing, while the 11th is where does what I bring connect me with other people. So, oh yeah, this is such a good song. This is how it might have switched up, but I'm playing an Astrology Girl Vibes playlist on Spotify. Oh yeah, still going. So it's been a good one. It's been perfect for my astrology class. Okay, so the 11th house. What it means to have placements here in the 11th house. So, planets in the 11th can strongly influence friendships, community involvement, social life, collaboration. It's just me dancing in silence on YouTube. I know. Thank you. I thought that was gunny. Sapine, thank you so much for the biddies. Was jamming. Thank you. I appreciate you. A little dance party. Empty 10th. Elvin. My empty 10th house. No community for you. No community for you. Sorry. Yeah. So, an 11th house stellium can make friendships, community collaboration, all of that, major themes, with a strong need to find your people and or contribute to something larger than yourself. I feel like I need Martine to come to the front of the class, because Martine's trying to say her chart is depressing, but I know for a fact she has some stuff in the 11th house, which has been a pretty auspicious, there it is, Moon, Mercury, Mars, and Saturn. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I'll get a little bit more into it, but where, you know, there's some houses in traditional astrology that were like doom and gloom. The 11th house was like the lucky magical house in traditional, like, old school astrology. This was like the like, everything's gonna work out for you. You're gonna be wealthy and surrounded by friends and love. Let me see. Yeah, I love that. 11th house stellium, I'm gonna say this again for Martine, can make friendship, community, collaboration, and future dreams major themes in your life, with a strong need to find your people and contribute to something larger than yourself. Moon, Mercury, Mars, Saturn. Do I have any of those written down? Mercury in the 11th house may enjoy exchanging ideas through friendships, groups, or online communities, and may be especially drawn to people they can learn from, brainstorm with, or talk about shared interests with. Let's see. Taurus on the 11th house may value loyal, dependable, long-lasting friendships, and may prefer communities that feel stable, comfortable, and trustworthy. Let's see. Any last notes? The 11th house is a succedent house, fitting into the building part of our house rhythm. It's the house of community and future dreams. So this house isn't necessarily about being extremely social or having a ton of friends. It's more about your relationship with friendship, belonging, groups, and collective spaces. The good fortune piece comes from traditional astrology, where the 11th was considered a pretty auspicious house and was connected with friends, allies, and people who help us along the way. The 11th house can also describe hopes and possibilities you imagine for your future, especially those supported by friends, networks, allies, or community. Let's see. Girl, if you don't, I know. D. Teller. That's teeny to a T, right? I'm saying. I feel like community's been a huge theme in my life, but my 11th house is empty. Is the 7th? Yeah, the 7th house is the one about one-on-one relationships. About the WWE body slaving. Anyone would love to be in the 11th house, and you're like, nah, move out of that one. Martine, mind you, Martine, with a beautiful community that she's curated, with a bunch of beautiful friendships, with you know, people that are excited to hear her share her ideas and that she loves communicating with as often as possible. No, the 11th house, no. Couldn't be teeny. Is the house empty if there aren't any planet symbols? Yes. And you guys are gonna come for me, but I'm gonna say it again. Empty houses don't mean that you're lacking in that area. I'll just say it again. An empty 11th house does not mean you don't have community. An empty 11th house does not mean you don't have friendships or good fortune. Yeah, maybe one matters more than larger community, or it could just be like you can still, again, have a very, you know, very full community and social life without anything in your 11th house. Without you guys, I die. I have nothing. And scene. I think I would try to focus more in these charts about where the planets bring emphasis rather than where it's empty in your chart, because that's what matters more. I think that totally fits my life, because once I was authentic in my weirdness, I found all y'all and more. Exactly, that you're Aquarius, 11th house. And that's exactly it. That's exactly it, Chris. You attract people that have similar values as you, that share your beliefs, because Aquarius is very like humanitarian and vocal about what they believe in and making change that they believe in. And so Aquarius like brings that quirky, like, I'm not here to fit a mold. And you attract people, when you embody that Aquarius energy, you attract people that, you know, have that same energy as you, that have the same beliefs, stuff like that. I love it. Ooh, I've got some options. But nice. Sorry, I should let Mocha do her job. I think my favorite is the astro.com, but any of those would be really good. I really like the Chani website for like explaining things. I think it's just confusing to me that the houses are similar to each other, wouldn't have a placement. What do you mean? Yeah, I think there's like so much nuance in these birth charts that I don't think I would take anything as like black and white, you know? Cap and little Aquarius in my 11th. Sun and Chiron are in the 11th. Oh, okay, in Capricorn. So you could crave a community that, with Capricorn on the 11th house, you could crave community that has a lot of structure, stability, but also a community that helps drive you towards your goals, right? Since Capricorn is very ambitious and likes, you know, having goals and structure and stuff like that, you could look for a community that kind of helps you grow and helps move you forward, and is, you know, is kind of like has that structured vibe. Okay, we ready? The last house. Mysterious. Hi, Bubba. The cat's on my lap. It's definitely true with all the volunteering I've been doing. Oh, I love that. Okay, 12th house. She's a little mysterious, subconscious, solitude, and release. I'm gonna be honest. This one's like, I feel like the 12th house feels very like floaty and whimsical and maybe a little harder to pin down. But so the 12th house is connected to the subconscious, solitude, spirituality, hidden patterns, rest, endings, and release. So this is one of the more private and internal parts of the chart. So it's interesting because we made our way around, right? First house started with just us. And we grow, we figure out what we need, our resources, our home. Then we dive into like partnership. We dive into our career, get into our community, and then the 12th house is where we kind of start to like tie things back around, so it's a full loop. It starts to go kind of back more internal. So the 12th house can describe your inner world, your dreams and intuition, solitude and time spent alone, spiritual or reflective practices, hidden fears or patterns, retreat and restoration, and ending, surrender, and letting go. I said retreat, and they thought I said treat. I guess in a way I did. A simple way to look at the 12th house is what lives beneath the surface. So if we look at the 6th to 12th house axis here, the 6th house was our daily work, routines, responsibilities, and maintenance. The 12th house is the rest, retreat, surrender, what happens away from everyday demands. So the 6th house asks what needs to be managed. The 12th asks what needs to be released. Also, I was at an astrology retreat, and the astrologer I was working with made a really interesting what's the word I'm looking for? Metaphor? I don't know. She talked about the 6th and 12th house axis, right? And she said, so if the 6th house has to do with your health and your daily routines and stuff like that, it's more like the physical, your body, your day-to-day, the literal, like tangible. The 12th house is the opposite side of things. So it's more about the mental, the spiritual. So 6th house could be more like your body health. 12th house could be more mental health. I love to be alone and daydream. It's my time to shine. I feel like theater is a lot of building community to develop everyone's careers. That's true, Buppy. Uranus in the 12th house. 12th is empty because I'm the least mysterious person ever. Y'all get to know everything. Nothing to hide here. Sun and Venus for Martine. Neptune, Venus, and Uranus in your 12th. Nice. Wait, we're supposed to be releasing things. Just holding on to it forever. Uranus symbol gotta look like that. Yeah, it's an interesting axis, because I do think that why I've talked about the axis on each time is because there's a reason they're opposite to each other, because so many of them connect, you know? So they're like opposite ends of things, the physical versus the mental, the body, the mind. So what it means to have placements here. Planets in the 12th house can feel more private, internal, hidden, or difficult to express directly. Their energy may show up strongly through your inner world, dreams, spirituality, imagination, or periods of solitude. So, a 12th house stellium can create a very rich inner world and make solitude, spirituality, introspection, release, or understanding unconscious patterns major themes in your life. Some examples of placements here. Having Sun in the 12th house may have a more private relationship with identity and self-expression, and may need significant time alone to reconnect with themselves. Mercury in the 12th house may have a very active inner mind and may process thoughts privately, intuitively, or imaginatively before sharing them. Different signs here. Someone with Libra on the 12th house may have hidden patterns around people-pleasing, harmony, or avoiding conflict, and may need solitude to understand what they genuinely want apart from other people. Let's see, any last notes before we get into examples and questions? The 12th house is a cadent house, completing that learning, processing, and transition part of the house rhythm. Useful shorthand is the inner world. The 12th house sometimes gets portrayed as scary and or negative, but it is not inherently a bad house. The 12th house has a pretty intimidating reputation in traditional astrology, but modern astrology tends to approach many of those same things more psychologically, as the parts of ourself that are hidden, unconscious, private, or in need of rest and release. Can be very restorative, intuitive, spiritual, imaginative, and reflective. So it has a strong theme of release with the 12th house, letting go of something that has run its course before beginning again with the first house. What are we catching? Middle tank means you release a lot of gas. Yes, it could be how you process, release emotion, especially if you think about it in terms of like mental health or your internal like subconscious things. Yeah, it could definitely have to do with that. You're like, this is me. So that is the 12th house. And that is our last house. I do have some examples, and I thought it would be fun since now we've talked about signs, we've talked about planets, and now we've talked about houses. I can use some of these charts to maybe talk a little bit about how you can look at a birth chart and what kind of things you can look for that can catch your eye. So, are we ready for that? Hi, Bubba. It says Venus on my 12th house means I have nice feet. Link to Teeny's only feet below. She goes by a different name though, so don't call her Teeny there. Okay. Chiron in the 12th. Strong empathy, rich inner world, struggle with avoidance and escapism, overactive imagination. I feel thoroughly called out. That's what it says. I believe it. I could see Pisces. I know Pisces is tied to feet, right? These Pisces feet. This is a 12th house feet. Interesting. Ready for some examples? It's already 10 p.m. Okay. I won't spend too long, but I do want to go through some of these examples. Okay, so I am going to try not to spend too long going over examples because I think some of this, like, it's a lot of information to look at. But here we have a chart. So the basics that we can look at is here we have the ascendant descendant line. Ooh, so we can see this person has an ascendant in Taurus, is right in this little Taurus chunk here. Then we like to go through the chart and look. I like to look for the big three. So we have the sun. This person has a sun in Aries in the 12th house, right? We've got a big old 12th house here. Yeah. We have a moon also in Aries. It kind of looks like, I think the moon is in the 11th house, yes. And then the Taurus rising. So Aries sun, Aries moon, Taurus rising. So one of the placements I picked out to talk about is we can look at the Pisces Mars in the 11th house. So Mars, if you remember from episode 2 or 3, Mars tells us how someone takes action. In Pisces, that action may be more intuitive, compassionate, or creative. So in the 11th house, that energy gets directed toward friendships, community, groups, and future goals. So this could be someone that really fights for their people or pours a lot of energy into causes and communities they care about. Let me look at chat. I see you moving. Hi, Jack. Welcome in. Ooh, shiny. Here to listen for the rest. Perfect. Blaze, we are going over some examples. I'm talking about some example charts here. So Mars is how we throw hands. Exactly. And I know people want to go to bed, so I am gonna try not to get distracted for the rest of this. And then immediately get distracted. So another thing we can look at is today we talked about the midheaven. So we have the midheaven and then the IC. So this was the one I was showing you earlier because it's not always going to be straight up and down like this. So our midheaven and IC are right here. So this is an Aquarius midheaven. So for this person, public reputation, career path, and goals are guided by the innovative, humanitarian, and forward thinking. And then on the opposite end of things, the Leo IC the inner sanctuary feels the best when it's vibrant, creative, and expressive. You need to also feel seen and appreciated by the people closest to you. And then the last one I picked out is this little guy here. That's Pluto. Or sorry, not Pluto. Jupiter. Got distracted by Pluto. Jupiter is it looks like a 4 with a little loopy. Scorpio, Jupiter in the 6th house. So Jupiter is the expansion, the optimism, all of that. Jupiter expands anything it touches. In Scorpio, that growth happens through depth and investigation and transformation. So in the 6th house of work and routines and health and service, that's where that energy gets directed. So this could be someone that goes very deep into their everyday responsibilities and is always looking for ways to improve or transform how they function. Hi. Forgot to do my homework. Do I have to stay late after class? Yes, you may have a few detentions for that. No homework and you showed up late to class? Yeah, that's maybe a few detentions. Okay, got a kitty. Bye, Red. I hope your stream was good. I hope it kept my streak. I hope it kept my streak. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, kitty. So, those were the examples that I pulled from this one. I should have a detention command, except this is the last cosmic classroom, so maybe not. Starter co-stream was fun. Oh, I love that. I hope you guys had a blast. A blast. I'm gonna move the boy. Okay, there we go. So, those are the examples I pulled from this one. Yeah. Let's see. For the next one, look at that. Look at that. So, for this one, you can see we have a 12th house stellium. Look at that cluster. Actually, that's a stellium if I've ever seen one. If you missed the beginning, a stellium is a cluster of planets in one sign or one house. So that is a lot of Capricorn. Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Uranus, Neptune, all Capricorn. So remember how I said the stellium makes one area of the chart really loud? This is a perfect example. We have 7 planets in Capricorn in the 12th house. So that means identity, emotions, communication, relationships, motivation, intuition, all of these different planetary functions that are here are all being filtered through Capricorn and concentrated into 12th house themes. So the 12th house can already make planets feel more inward and private and hidden, or harder to access consciously. With 7 planets there, introspection, solitude, unconscious patterns, all of that. And what happens behind the scenes could become major recurring themes in their life. And because it's all in Capricorn, that inner world may be a very different flavor than the dreamy stereotype that people sometimes associate with the 12th house. I saw some chat. Hold on. Hi, Dan. Welcome in. Stella, damn, right? Jesus. This is Mocha. This is Mocha's chart. This is why she is the ultimate Capricorn, the ultimate mod. I did get everyone's permission to use charts. But yeah, so this is our sweet Mocha. But so looking at this, there can be themes of, and I can see Mocha typing. Yep, that's me, because we were talking about the 12th house just a few minutes ago before she went to bed. But there can be themes of trying to organize or control what is happening internally. It can be being very private about emotions or vulnerabilities, taking inner struggles seriously, feeling responsible even when nobody else is watching, needing solitude, but potentially having difficult truly letting go of productivity or responsibility, and developing structure around spiritual practices, reflection, creativity, or alone time. So it's an interesting contrast here, because Capricorn is saying structure it, manage it, accomplish something, but then the 12th house is saying release it, retreat, surrender, let things exist beneath the surface. So there's quite a contrast there. But look at all that Capricorn. It's stunning. Did you guys guess whose chart this one was? You guys know all of these. You guys know all of these. Red knows all of these people. Red looks at the chart. Aries sun, Aries moon. I know that. You got it. You got it. That's Artini. Oh wait, this would be a fun one to guess. Diggy rig in your acorn blaze. Let's see. So this one, damn, she's good. Really learning, even though it's quite late. I love it. Okay. Wow, what is the camp rock? Wow, she's really good. Okay, so this chart, interestingly enough, this chart is, sorry, this chart also has a 12th house stellium, just like our last one, but this time it's in Scorpio. So again, we'd expect a lot of emphasis on the inner world, privacy, subconscious patterns, all of that, but expressed in a much more intense and private way, private Scorpio kind of way. Since we just talked about this 12th house stellium, I'm gonna pick out some other placements. So let's see. I picked out the Libra sun in the 11th house. So maybe as I describe this, you guys will start to think, who could this be? So, the Libra sun in the 11th house. So the sun is your identity. In Libra, the identity is expressed in a relational, diplomatic way. In the 11th house, that gets directed towards friendships and community. So this may be someone who finds themselves through their people. This person may strongly identify with being part of a community or a social network and may express themselves through friendships, collaboration, group spaces, or shared ideals. Libra adds an emphasis on harmony and connection, so they may naturally play the role of mediator, connector, or someone who helps groups work well together. Maybe a little bit, tiny bit people pleasy. That Libra sun in the 11th house, maybe a little people pleasy. It is not mine. I be a Gemini. It sounds like all of us because so much of how we connect is through community. You're good, Mandy. Yeah, no, I mean, so much of us find our friendships through community, through Twitch, stuff like that. So those 11th house vibes we all can connect with a bit. The last one I picked from this chart is the Virgo moon, right here. Virgo moon in the 10th house. The moon. So the moon is all about our emotional needs. In Virgo, those needs can center around being helpful, capable, and useful. So in the 10th house, that gets expressed through career and public life. So being good at what I lost my spot. What they do may feel emotionally important to them. They may feel especially fulfilled when their work is useful or when they're recognized for being reliable, skilled, or thoughtful. A side note that gets a little beyond what I've taught is this little key looking symbol is Chiron that we were talking about earlier. And Chiron has to do with maybe where you need some healing, where you might have some struggles or insecurities, but can become a strength once you've healed that. So it's interesting. This person has their moon and Chiron, they're exactly conjunct right on top of each other. So that can add some sensitivity or a healing theme around emotional needs, vulnerability, or feeling useful and recognized. Oh, sounds a lot like Blaze. I need Blaze's chart. I need to see Blaze's chart. But, oh, Blaze is in Aries. Blaze is like, I'm so lost. Tis. Martine has confirmed. We did, I think Rain guessed it, right? Rain guessed. This one, this is our Gubbingtons. This is our Gubby. Our Gunny Gubby. There we go. Kind of like I looked at the other ones. You can see Scorpio rising here. If you look at the Ascendant, Descendant, it's got a Scorpio rising. Sun, Libra Sun, Virgo Moon. So there's his big three. Oh, it sounded like Blaze. That's Blue's dad for you. That's a girl dad. That's a girl dad. He didn't want to be here for his own chart reading. Just got a free reading. Okay, last example chart. So we're gonna look at this. We're gonna look at this guy, and we see it's definitely more spread out. Don't have like the stelliums like the last charts. Okay, and here's the example I was talking about. I think I was saying to Chris. So this looks like an 8th house stellium, but if you look at what some of the placements are, they're not like main like planets or placements. Like I have the part of fortune here, that Vesta. So a few like asteroids are like little side points on the chart. So I really only have like 2 major placements there. Oh, I said I. No. Good night, Rain. We're just about to wrap up. This is my last example. So you should stay. Just kidding. You don't want to see my chart? Good night, Rain. My chart apparently makes a mystic rectangle, which is rare. Ooh, I need to see that. I need to see that, Mandy. Ooh, a shiny. Wait, somebody get a shiny? Oh, shiny Emolga. Nice, Olive. I'm starting to think this might be Squibby's chart. I spoiled it. I mean, you guys, we were just talking about how I'm a Gemini, so you guys would have guessed me, but I, in true Gemini fashion, could not keep it a secret. So, anyways, so I just picked a few little placements to go over. For example, we have Aquarius moon in the 3rd house. So the moon again represents emotional needs and instincts. Aquarius processes those needs in a more independent and intellectual or unconventional way. Aquarius has been called a little detached before, especially when it comes to placements like the moon that are more emotional. But if you put that in the 3rd house, which is communication and learning, this could be someone, who could it be, who really needs conversation and ideas to process their emotions, but may approach feelings by trying to understand them intellectually first. This person may process emotions by thinking or talking them through, but Aquarius, can give the moon a little more emotional distance or objectivity. They may need space to understand what they're feeling before expressing it, and may communicate their emotions in an unconventional, thoughtful, or analytical way. The 3rd house puts emotional importance on conversation, learning, exchanging ideas, and being mentally stimulated. So communication may be an important way for them to feel communicated and connected and understood. And yeah, what else? I have the Taurus on my notes. Taurus Venus in the 6th. So Venus shows what we enjoy and value. In Taurus, Venus is very comfortable. Taurus likes stability, beauty, pleasure, and tangible comforts. And in the 6th house, those Venus themes show up in daily life. So this could be someone who really benefits from making their routines enjoyable, and creating a work or home routine that feels calm, comfortable, and sustainable. So yeah. Oh, Dan, you're a Gemini. I love that. Gemini gang. I feel like a lot of streamers are Aries and Gemini. It's like we're made for it. So weird that several of y'all are Geminis when I've traditionally not gotten along well with prominent water signs. You mean air? You mean us airy folk? Interesting. maybe we have some other placements that kind of balance us out. I grew up hearing people talk shit about Geminis. TBH, but y'all are so nice. Geminis are misunderstood. Oh wait, never mind. Oh, it's water signs you struggle with. I see. Cause you got that fire. You had 2 exes that were Cancer and your Aries, Blaze. That's interesting. I'm like, I want to see all of your charts. I'm down to keep yapping for a few minutes, but I am going to wrap up the YouTube video. So if you guys want to say goodbye in chat to our YouTube friends, I will stop the recording there and we can go to the just chatting screen. But I'm gonna wrap the YouTube video. Thank you, YouTube. If you made it to the end, I'm amazed and I'm in awe. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I know this was a longer one than usual, but it was a great send-off. It was a great final Cosmic Classroom episode. But please do stay tuned because literally my next video, right? My next video is going to be the start of my new series, which is going to be monthly. And we are starting with Virgo season. So my first part, speak of the devil. My first part is going to be a Virgo season kickoff. And it's going to be posted within a week of this one being posted, so stay tuned. Here's our Virgo queen herself. She's going to be my very first special guest on my first zodiac season kickoff, so stay tuned. Tune in if you would like to learn all about Virgo, what to expect from Virgo season, and if you want to see this hottie Shannon's Shire on your screen. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on this Cosmic Classroom journey. I appreciate you all. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, YouTube. Bye, YouTube.